we'd like to introduce Dan Kwong, multimedia performance artist and director of the Manzanar Baseball Project. Members of the VJAMM committee met Dan during the run of his co-writer Ruben Funkahatl Guevara's play Masao and the Bronze Nightingale. The play dramatizes the intersection of Japanese American, African American, and Mexican American communities in Little Tokyo and Boyle Heights immediately after the end of the World War II. Now, Dan has a new production, the Manzanar Baseball Project. Dan Kwong.
Thank you, Jenny. For the 11,000 Japanese Americans incarcerated in Manzanar, life happened in a remote desert wasteland, isolated from their fellow citizens. But the baseball field was where they could play out a scene happening all over this country. It connected them to America and Americanness in a way that no barbed wire could deny. By claiming baseball as theirs, they were claiming America too. 2 years ago, we began restoring the baseball field at Manzanar National Historic Site. Last October, we staged an inaugural doubleheader featuring top players from the Japanese American Baseball Leagues of California. Many of them had family members who had been incarcerated in Manzanar, as well as other camps. Wearing 1940-style uniforms and using vintage baseball equipment, they breathed life into Manzanar's diamond for the first time in over 80 years, allowing us to feel the spirit with which it was made and played upon. I think of it as historically based, culturally rooted performance art. A powerful integration of community activism and sports, an act of healing. The Venice Japanese American Memorial Monument Committee generously supported our efforts, and on behalf of the Manzanar Baseball Project and its producing organization, Great Leap, we express our deep and sincere thanks. One purpose of the Manzanar Baseball Project is to honor the Issei and Nisei who persevered through all the hardships of camp, who believed in this country even when it refused to believe in them, whose unbreakable spirit was expressed with every pitch, every swing, and every run scored. Another purpose is to give younger generation Japanese Americans a unique way to connect with their history. To walk on that dusty diamond is to walk with spirits. To feel the heat of the sun, the chill of the wind, to smell the dust and see the tumbleweed, to sit in the shadows of the Sierra Nevada mountains. All these are visceral reminders of both the tragedy and the beauty of Manzanar. Because Japanese Americans did not just endure camp as defeated victims. They lived life to the fullest extent possible, and this baseball field symbolizes that. It is my hope that future generations will come stand on the infield of their ancestors and draw upon their strength, determination, and yes, their joy. Finally, the Manzanar Baseball Project brings attention to the disturbing reminder that targeting people simply because of their identity, not because of anything they've done, and denying them due process of law is a mistake we already made. The Japanese American community and its allies are in unique position to remind everyone of a history we must not repeat. I hope you can join us for the grand opening doubleheader this October. And please consider supporting the Manzanar Baseball Project at greatleap.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. We'd now like to introduce Natalie Tokita, one of two 2025 recipients of the Arnold Maeda Manzanar Pilgrimage Grant. A student at UCLA, Natalie has connected Nikkei speakers to university students in Japan while interning for the U.S.-Japan Council's Japanese American Storytelling Program. She's also promoted ethnic studies as a member of the Asian American Studies Department's Undergraduate Leadership Committee and is performing with student-run Kyoto Taiko, a drumming ensemble, at the Manzanar Pilgrimage. Natalie, Tokita?
Hello, I apologize in advance for the state of my voice. I'm still recovering from being sick last week. Thank you very much to the Manzanar Committee for inviting me to speak at this lovely commemoration today. My name is Natalie Tokita, and I am a second year at UCLA, majoring in Human Biology and Society and minoring in Asian American Studies. I am truly honored to be a recipient of this year's Arnold Maeda Manzanar Pilgrimage Grant and to have this opportunity to work with the Manzanar Committee. I first learned of the grant from my friend and my Kyoto Taiko teammate, Ryan Horio, who was a recipient 2 years ago. I was then encouraged to apply by Mr. Bruce Embry, who came to visit the class I was taking last fall on Japanese American incarceration. It was very inspiring to hear him speak about the work that the committee does to advocate for the future of our community. As a descendant of Minidoka, and more distantly Manzanar and Tule Lake, I applied to the grant not only to preserve the history of my ancestors, but also to ensure that it never ever repeats itself. The VJAMM is a very powerful monument to me as I believe in the power of place-based learning. It is one thing to read about a historical event in a textbook, but it is another to stand where those people stood and reflect on your own place. Mr. Arnold Maeda dedicated himself to commemorating this one, where thousands had their lives and livelihoods taken in a severe injustice committed against the United States' own citizens. It is so necessary to remember and honor these places and their histories because it is a different and poignant experience to be here and imagine what happened just a few decades ago to people who had committed no wrong. I hope to carry on Mr. Maeda's legacy by sharing the many stories of Japanese American incarceration and the many places and spaces that surround it. I would like to close with a recent thought I had about the purpose of the Manzanar pilgrimage. Performing with Kyoto at the pilgrimage has been by far the most powerful experience I've had as a member of this Taiko team. And it has given me the chance to reflect deeply on my place in Japanese America. One of my teammates asked me last week, "This song is quite happy. Should we be playing it at the pilgrimage?" I pondered this for a while, wondering if we should perhaps play more solemn pieces to honor the occasion. But I eventually came to the conclusion that while the pilgrimage is indeed about commemoration and the remembrance of suffering endured, it is also equally about celebration of Japanese American resilience and spirit. And so at this year's pilgrimage, I will work and perform and speak with the power and the passion of those who have come before me. I will dedicate my time and effort to honoring the resolve of my family and my people. I will advocate with the knowledge that I am a continuation of their story, that my voice is an echo of their resilience. The pilgrimage to me is therefore not just to remember, it is to reclaim. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Natalie. Now I'm going to introduce Jennifer. She's got a great name. Jennifer Yamashita, the other 2025 recipient of the Arnold Maeda Manzanar Pilgrimage Grant, co-sponsored by the VJAMM Committee and the Manzanar Committee. Now a student at UCLA, Jennifer's first came to the attention of the VJAMM Committee as she was preparing for her Girl Scout Gold Award. Jennifer created an online interactive website, Adventures in Venice / West Los Angeles Japanese American History. Her website includes 15-year-old Arnold Maeda wondering what he could pack for Manzanar, like not his dog. She includes the Venice Japanese American Memorial Monument as one of the landmarks. Jennifer?
Hello. I'd like to start off by thanking the VJAMM Committee and Manzanar Committee for giving me this incredible opportunity. I first learned about the VJAMM when I was 10 years old. My Girl Scout troop was the first group to clean the monument in 2017. I'd like to say I was excited to volunteer, but I didn't really have a choice because my mom was the troop leader. That day, I was just sweeping up trash when, to my surprise, Mr. Arnold appeared. In my limited world at the time, Arnold Maeda was just Mr. Arnold, my grandma's neighbor and dear friend. But that day, he became more than that, as he told us his story about lining up here on this very spot and the pain of having to leave his dog, Boy, behind. I had no idea what he had endured. Although both my grandfathers were incarcerated during World War II, both passed away before I was born, so I was never able to hear their stories. Mr. Arnold's story made it personal for me, and it made me consider how painful it must have been for every person who was affected. As I grew older, I learned how important Arnold Maeda was in the planning and realization of the VJAMM. I am so grateful to be a recipient of the grant named in his honor. I hope to continue his legacy of selflessly giving to the community and having a deep respect for our history. Especially now, I know how important this is. Over the years, I have cleaned the monument of graffiti and vandalism and wondered why anyone would do such terrible acts. I believe a big part is due to ignorance. People just don't realize or have a true understanding of what happened here. So it is my privilege and honor to be speaking here today, and in the future to work with the Manzanar Committee as part of the Arnold Maeda Manzanar Pilgrimage Grant. My goal is to continue to spread knowledge so this chapter in history will never be repeated nor forgotten. Thank you.